You're on the Six Screens Tele-Network, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, in Disney.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to JW World News. We are going to have a rockin' awesome night tonight. Boy, I will tell you, I know I say it every week, but I gotta say it again. The more we dig into the critical stories of the Watchtower, the more we're finding out. You're gonna love tonight's program. Hope you can stay with us. We're looking forward to you guys getting some information tonight you're really going to enjoy concerning the critical news in the Watchtower. Well, there you have it. Hello, everyone. Boy, I'm so glad you could come in and be with us tonight. We are moving in the right direction. I have to tell you out there, all of you folks that are monitoring the world of the Jehovah's Witnesses. We have been counting down the last days of the Watchtower for 16 years, but I got to honestly tell you, things are happening. And I know I come on and you guys say, come on, Rick, knock it off. Hey, look, I'm not looking through rose-colored glasses. We have got an organization in free fall, and I am so glad to see it tanking. I've got so many relatives. I've got at least 50 relatives on my mother's side that are staunch, loyal Jehovah's Witnesses. And, you know, it ticks me off that when I decided to drop the bomb, so to speak, on the Watchtower, they all went in the other direction, wouldn't listen to one word I said. But I'm sure there's many of you folks out there, too, that have been in the same position. You have many relatives and friends that have abandoned you. It's not a very pleasant feeling, is it? There's some people tonight, I'm sure, that are in a room. I mentioned that I know a lot. They're in a room all by themselves. Nobody's speaking to them. Nobody's talking to them. But I have to say, I'm just wondering here. Let me just make sure I'm on, which I am. I just wanted to check. We're on 4 different platforms. That's why sometimes, folks, if you're on YouTube and the video suite, you'll see me moving around a lot in here. I don't have an engineer. I'm doing this all by myself, not complaining, just explaining. I have to monitor 5 different computer screens just to make sure everything is working properly. And so far, so good. But anyways, this is my favorite night of the year. The year. It's favorite night of the week. I get my salami, I get my cheese and crackers, and I invite you guys to all come in and we can sit down and talk about what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. So let's take a look. Let's see what some of the big issues are this week. Now, Watchtower has announcements. When you were witnesses like I was, during the meetings, they would have announcements and reminders. Remember that? Oh, yeah. So that's what they would give us every meeting at the Kingdom Hall when we were going there. And they'd give us announcements and we'd say, oh, that's good and all of that. Excuse me. But anyways, a man by the name of Atlantis, he shares information with me, as well as other active apostates. And he gives us the announcements and the reminders for every month. So this week, the announcements that were given to the congregation is how parents can protect their children from misuse of blood. Boy, I'll tell you what, that is so discouraging when you actually have an organization, a religious organization, with a 3-page letter dictating to the witnesses what they would say if their child ever needed a blood transfusion. Friends, little children are dying. This is sacrificing children on the altar. Is this religion sane? Of course, we know they're a cult, but why would you let little children die? And why would you let even adults die? Is that what God would want? He'd want you to die and especially the little ones. And the Watchtower is coming out with this letter, a 3-page letter on how you're to deal with all of this. I can't believe it. I can't believe the Watchtower would even think of doing such a thing. But they do. And I'll tell you what, it's very, very disgusting. In fact, I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to go into the whole letter. I'm not even going to read it to you. But they're suggesting that, you make sure if your child needs a blood transfusion, that you get in touch with the liaison committee, let all the elders know. They're telling you what to say to the court if it comes to a court order, even fighting that. Even when the parents would get a court order to have their child, they can step away from it and the court will be responsible. But even at that point, the Watchtower is telling them not to give in. Keep fighting the court. Don't let the child have blood. What is the matter with these people? Seriously. So I found that disturbing when I read articles like that. And all I can think of is little children that don't have a voice of their own and their parents abandoned them in the hospital, so to speak. Nope. No, sonny, you don't want to take blood. And then even when it does become a court case, the parents is told and instructed how to fight the court systems. And you know what I found interesting? What I found very interesting is in the paperwork, this letter advising the witness parents how to handle all of this with the court systems, they told the court system, don't say that that's okay if my daughter or my little son dies. I'm going to see them in the resurrection. They said, don't say that. Don't say that at all, because the Watchtower is saying that might sound kind of foolish. That might sound foolish to the court system. Well, of course it would. Of course it would sound foolish to the court system. Why wouldn't it? Boy, I will tell you, these guys are very upsetting to me, and I'm sure they're upsetting to you too. How is it? I mean, I was a witness too, but I'll tell you one thing. I would have never, ever, ever let one of my children die because I didn't want them taking blood. If my wife or my children or even myself, if I was faced with that dilemma, and I was with my first wife, but fortunately she came through okay. She had a brain hemorrhage. But if she needed blood, I would have given it to her a heartbeat. I could care less about the elders. And my children, there's no way that I would let my little son or daughter, I don't care if I had a guilty conscience the rest of my life, I would let them have blood. And I think that most of you folks listening in here tonight, I think you'd agree with me. I really do. It's a terrible position for these parents.
You were a good parent there, Rick. My dad wouldn't let me sign the blood card as a minor, and I understand why now. And you know my story of going to the anesthesiologist for my mother and going over those elders. This makes me angry. And also the way they phrased the title of the letter is pure propaganda. They're not even using the right grammar because they're trying to push an agenda.
That's all they're trying to do. That's all they're trying to do. And how could an organization, don't you think these men would sit down? That's probably the problem. If they had some women on the governing body, they might be a little more sensitive to this. But don't you think the governing body could sit down and take a new look at blood and see if they can't come up with a way of saying that, it's really not the way that we've been thinking it is. It's really not. Maybe we should backpedal. But that's the problem. They can't backpedal. What about all the people that have died? What about all the people that refused blood and died? If all of a sudden they came out now and said, hey, we got an adjustment here. You can now take a transfusion. We looked close into the scriptures and we found that we did not have it exactly right. Well, you'd never say that in the first place, but how could that ever happen? People would be so aggravated, so disturbed with the Watchtower, there'd be lawsuits all over the place. So in the sake of saving some money, they're not going to backpedal, and they're just going to watch people die all over the place. Just like another story that I have here tonight. It's from the United Kingdom. And the headlines in the paper, Jehovah's Witness, this just happened a couple of days ago. Jehovah's Witness had to choose between life or religion after needing a blood transfusion. So this was a 40-year-old Jehovah's Witness woman. Her name was Lou Ryan. And she's 52 years old. And she was explaining to the newspaper that, she was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And she was riding her little motorbike. And she drove off the road and went into a steel fence and cut herself all up and had to be, rushed off to the hospital, and she was going to die. It was a life or death situation. And if she didn't take the blood, she was going to be checking out of the system. So she says, I want the blood, but she had the doctor promise her that he wouldn't tell the Jehovah's Witness parents, because she said if they found out I took a blood transfusion, they would shun me. They wouldn't even talk to me. How is it? How is it people can be like that? It's unbelievable. What do you think? You're on with us, Dick. What do you think, buddy?
Eric, Rick, I really like the program. I think that if somebody did a deep dive into the history of the Watchtower, that they would realize the Watchtower has been so wrong on so many issues that why would they trust the Watchtower to tell them not to take blood? They've been wrong. Well, initially, in the early years of the Watchtower, that you could take blood transfusions, you could join the military. The crucifix was something that they approved of. You could worship Jesus. There's just so many things that this organization has flip-flopped on, has found new light. That you're right, that they could say, well, we've got new light about blood transfusions, but they won't do it because they're going to get sued from all the people in the back, the family members who have lost family members. That they just don't want to get sued because money's more important than blood. Money's more important to them than life.
Yeah.
Money's more important.
Money's more important to them than little babies dying. Little babies dying. And, in America and in other countries too, Jehovah's Witnesses, the parents, that is, when their child is confronted with a blood transfusion and they're like they're a minor, say they're under 18, the court will all the time step in. I mean, just about 100% of the time they'll step in. So, that's kind of like an out for a witness if they wanted to play that game. Their child's faced with a blood transfusion. They say no, because they know if they say yes, they're going to get disfellowship. But they can play the game. The court can order it, and then I'm off the hook. I mean, that's not really, something that it should bother their conscience if they did that, but it's not going to bother a lot of witness conscience. But they should do that. And they know the child's going to get the blood transfusion, but I got to tell you something. Yes. Hold on one second, Brian. But here's what could happen if the child, is questioned by the court, and they see that the parents are kind of unfit. This could open up Pandora's box. If there's a court order, they're going to want to examine the parents. They're going to want to see what type of a parent will let their kids die like this. Yes, go ahead, Braden.
Oh, yes.
The hospital will ban the
hold on, Pixie. Let Braden. Pixie.
Anyway, if you talk to the surgery team.
Hey, Pixie, just make sure you're talking over other people. Let the people talk, and then you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I was just going to say the hospital will ban the witnesses and do the blood anyway if you talk to the surgery team.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's right. Braden, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Rick, that regarding the blood issues, and again, I have to, I have to compliment you for what you said about, how you would protect your kids if they needed blood. I think there is a natural moral obligation for parents to, if their kid is sick, look at how intense. If they're battling leukemia, look at how intense the battle is for that. The parents will do anything. And blood, as I've said, it is so important. It's like, it's a required feature of life. It's part of our body. We need it. And it's quite shocking. Like, when I was a witness, I was on the fence, right? I had always been on the fence, but I knew that, okay, yes, if I did get in an accident or something like that, yeah, I would choose that. I'd probably be disfellowshipped, but, I'd get reinstated. Even in nature, a mother lion will do everything she can possible, even if she's under attack from other predators, to save her cubs. And that's just animal instinct. And likewise, our instinct is more sophisticated, but if the animal kingdom, if their parents want to save them, we have a moral obligation to do it as well.
Well, you're absolutely right. Good comment. Absolutely. Just a natural thing. You don't want to see an infant die. You don't want to see children die. You don't want to see your wife, your husband. You don't want to see anybody die. It's not against biblical law. I'm not going to get into theological reasons about it all, but it's not. But the Watchtower is never going to change their position on it. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, exactly, Rick. And you know what? I can't imagine anybody, even the most stone-faced person or the coldest person, when a child who is at death's door, they need a blood transfusion or they will die within the next 10 minutes. Even the most stone-hearted person would be, a child. It's one thing if it's just another person, but I think even some people who are not the nicest people have certain standards when it comes to kids that you don't, that you take care of them. That if it's within your power, to help somebody to help somebody, whether it's helping them get to the hospital or help making perhaps a life-saving decision for them. You got
it, Braden.
Yeah,
go ahead. We're gonna move on. Go ahead, finish it up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's just what I had to say.
All right, good. Well, thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Hey,
yeah, you're on with us, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rick, I was just going to say that, everybody listening in, every time I run into a doctor, a new health care professional, what have you, I always explain to them, how these elders will come up there with a liaison team and interfere in somebody getting a blood transfusion when they need one, and I always make it a point to talk to them about it, and tell them about their tactics. And I encourage everybody listening to this, that it's very important that explain to your doctors that you run into or your doctor that, this is what Jehovah's Witnesses do, and you could save somebody's life. My point.
Well, it's a good point. It's exactly what Jehovah's Witnesses do. And not only do they not want you taking a blood transfusion, they don't want you to give blood either. And giving blood could help so many people as well. But they played around with this blood issue. They tried to get people thinking that you could take fractions and this and that, and got all messed up and so confused. But thank you you guys for checking in with the blood issue. So anyways, that's what's going on.
Hello, Rick.
Yes, Ken. Yes.
Yeah, I've been listening to the program and the blood issue with interest right here. And for one thing, I don't understand how they can get away with what they're doing, because they're not supposed to have any jurisdiction or any kind of control over the families and over the children of the families or whatsoever. They're not supposed to have control, medical issue control, because they're not professionals themselves. And they're violating people's civil rights and human rights. And as we just brought out a while ago here, they're responsible for maybe millions upon millions of deaths worldwide for their actions on refusal of blood transfusion. And then they keep on pointing to their, to their Bible and all that and so forth. And their Bible doesn't say any such a thing, because blood transfusions were not even in existence when the Bible was written. And their Bible says that you're not to consume blood, but it doesn't say you can't have a blood transfusion. So again, they twist and they misrepresent the facts, and they interpret things the way they want to, and they're telling you what what they say it says rather than what it really says, back and forth and all that. So they're engaged in unconstitutional actions. They put themselves above the laws of the land, put themselves above the Constitution of the U.S. and other constitutions, other laws around the world too, and then they put themselves above the laws of God most of all.
Well, that's exactly what they do. Thank you, Ken. Thank you very much for
You're
coming.
welcome. We'll keep listening.
All right, very good.
Rick?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, it's Lana. Long time no hear.
Yeah, hi, Lana. How you doing?
Hi, good.
Good.
But the blood issue always attracts my attention because, I went through that with an 8-month-old baby. But what I can't understand, what about the HEPA laws? I mean, I called I have a girlfriend who I've known since childhood. She was a witness. She's in a hospital with a brain tumor right now. They won't tell me nothing. How do these guys get in there and interfere in your medical problems with HEPA? I mean, the HEPA laws. Are you there?
I'm there. Yeah. Well, they have to.
They claim to be a minister.
Well, hold
They
on,
get
hold on,
past
Pixie. Well, let me talk, okay? You hold on now.
Okay.
I'm doing the program. I gotta, they're asking me a question. I gotta answer it. They get around it because what they do, Lana, is they sign a paper. It's a release paper that if you say someone can have access to your medical records and share information concerning your medical issues, they can do it. So they put the liaison committee on the list. Yeah.
That's ridiculous because, I got cut off. When my baby had his problems, he's a grown man now, but I was relaying the situation to the congregation. And as soon as I mentioned, there was a pediatrician who took us to court and all this about the blood. And we went to court. We had a highly professional Dr. Jane. He operated on, remember Superman, Christopher Reeve? He was like the best in the country. Okay. But as soon as I mentioned that this pediatrician had a premonition, as soon as I said that word, he cut me off. But the premonition was that Dr. Jane went to him and said, "Get the hell out of my business. I'm taking care of this." It was no premonition. It was a higher educated doctor who was going to operate on my son, who knew what he was doing. But you see how they do you at the hall? He cut me off mid-sentence because I said the word premonition. I mean, I don't believe in that stuff. I was sitting in the kingdom.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm saying.
Well, it's frustrating, Lana. It's very, very frustrating. And I know you went through
But
it.
He wouldn't let me finish my sentence,
I know.
And it was like maybe the congregation thought, "Ooh, Lana believes in the occult." I don't know what went on there. But I was young. And I think I was always kind of marked by this elder for reasons I don't even know. But anyway, I don't like him.
Well, that could have been the case. My goodness, that very well could have been the case. Golly.
If you remember our conversations, this guy. I don't like him.
Yeah.
Never will like him.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Well,
I'm going to hang up now.
Thank you.
Rick,
Go ahead.
I was faced with that same thing with my son. he needed brain surgery. And the liaison committee followed me everywhere. I couldn't even go to the bathroom without them seeing it at the door. And I don't know who called them, but probably, well, my dad was the presiding overseer, but my dad is the one that he pulled me into a closet at the hospital when somebody distracted the liaison committee. And he told me, sign for the blood. Let him have blood. Do not sacrifice him for this. He said this is a cult, and he was a PMO back then, you know, and I don't know how he pulled it off so well, but he said just sign for it, or let's call the doctor and tell them go ahead and get the court order and not tell the liaison committee anything about that. And I was angry with him because, I mean, why would I was almost, I don't know how old I was. My son was 11 and I had him when I was 20. So I was 31 years old. I was a young mom. And that's exactly what I did. But I told my dad, I said, okay, and if they're going to give him blood, it's going to be your blood. Because you should have told me this. He'd been in the hospital 3 weeks already. And my dad had seen me just fall all to pieces. Because when they're going to cut your kid's skull, take out part of their brain, it's a little bit unnerving if you're the parent. I mean, even if you're just an onlooker. But I did call the doctor, and I told him to go get the court order for the blood, and not to say anything to anybody because of being a witness. And we explained the situation, and he had worked with witnesses before. He was a neurosurgeon.
I got you. Well, it was a terrible situation, Debbie. We got a lot of people calling in, so we'll cut right to the chase. But no, that's good. We got the point. So you suffered it, and you saw exactly how the witnesses feel about it. Sorry you had to go through that, Debbie, but everything came out all right, did it?
No.
No?
I mean, they didn't give him blood, but the brain surgery completely ruined my son's life.
Ah, golly, huh? Well, I'm sad to hear that, and the folks listening in are too. Okay, we got some more callers coming in. Did you want to come in and say something? I've seen a bunch of people coming through there a little while ago. If not...
Hey, I had a question.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Hold. Go ahead. I think we have Rob first. Go ahead, Rob.
I was in for a long time, but I never knew of anybody getting disfellowshipped over blood or trying to come back. You know, out of all the things to get disfellowship for, that's probably, witnesses would probably think, one of the worst.
Well, that's interesting you say that. It's interesting you say that, Rob. I don't recall anyone ever being disfellowshipped either for taking a blood transfusion. I never heard of that. I mean, I'm sure some have, but I never wasn't in my realms of existence. No, I didn't see it. Go ahead, Connie. You're on with us, Constance.
Hi, Rick.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you, Constance. Yep.
Okay, dear. I was going to say, you know, I know when I was a witness, you know, they meaning Watchtower always said, you're doing this, for Jehovah God, to please Jehovah God. But, Rick, this is what's so interesting. The older I get, I love studying, I love to learn. And when you read about ancient cultures, it could be the Mayans down in Mexico or the Aztecs or, some of these other ancient civilizations, they did a lot of human sacrifices where people literally died. Well, what's interesting is, those people and their ancestry, they're tied into the occult and witchcraft. And yet, when you look at Watchtower, there's no difference with that, Rick. It's still human sacrifice if somebody doesn't have a blood transfusion. They're not dying on an altar, but they're dying, in the hospital bed there in the OR. and it's still a blood sacrifice. So my point is that as much as Watchtower would like to say, and tries to inculcate into people that you're doing this in honor of your love for Jehovah. No, you're not. You're doing it for Satan the devil. That's what it really is. It's a human sacrifice. No matter how you look at it, a lot of times people just die. I mean, you have a major car accident, but we have 6 pints of blood in us. You start losing half of that, you're not going to make it. So it's just a very interesting topic, Rick. It's just something that I have to bring up to the audience so they can see it from a different perspective. So thank you.
Well, that is a different perspective, and it's the best perspective because that's just what it is. It's sacrificing a human.
Rick?
Sacrificing a human. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, this is Thomas Hawks of Lawrence, Kansas over here.
All right.
I was just gonna say, Rick, it's sad because some years ago we didn't have the internet. Oh man, they got away with murder practically. I mean, we had thousands of people dying in a number, and we never heard about it. Never got to hear about all those ones, and the suicides same way. But now we have the internet. It's really destroying the Watchtower, and praise God for that. It's only going to get better and better. And this blood transfusion thing, they just won't let it die. They just keep it going and going and going. Like you say, they're more worried about their money, lawsuits and stuff. They know they'd have a bunch of them if they ever change that thing.
Well, that's a good comment, Thomas. Thank you very much. Always good to hear from you. Thank you.
Hi, this is Dr. Babe, Linda James.
Go ahead, Linda.
Hi. So somebody was asking, how do they get away with that? The blood card, when it's signed, what that is a power of attorney. So when you sign the card, you're signing over power of attorney for that medical situation. So that's how they get away with it, because you've handed that to them. So then they have the authority to make their own medical decisions for you regarding blood transfusions. That's how they do it.
Well, Linda, that's right.
Hello?
So hi.
Hi, Linda. Then why don't they
Hi.
tell you that's a power of attorney? Every document I've ever signed where I have achieved a power of attorney, but I knew what I was doing. Why don't they say that to you in legal
Because
terms?
it's the Watchtower. I'm sorry for interrupting. The way they recruit people is because of deception.
Because I did sign those blood cards, and I carried them in my wallet for years. I threw it away a long time ago. But the thing is, my daughter, for example, was birthing a child, and they put, she had trouble, holding the baby in her womb, and they put these wires in there. Well, there's
clamps.
I don't know what it was. Anyway,
Okay.
she's in labor, and she starts hemorrhaging. And well, supposedly they took the wire out, but here a stupid intern had put two of them, or only took one out and did two of them in there. I almost lost my grandson because of that crap. That's malpractice right there. But still, she told me, you know what she told me when she was going through that? She says, Mama, I don't care. And she was raised a witness. She's no longer one. But she said, she's not disfellowship, nothing like that. She just walked away. But she said, Mama, I'll take blood. She says, don't let me die.
Yes, the power of attorney gives the liaison committee. That's beautiful. I mean, that's a natural thing we have. Good. But what happens is it's on the medical records. If you've said it to anybody, it's on the medical record. So a doctor opens up your file.
Yeah, well, I
and they end up calling.
I had a hip replacement in the anesthesiologist, and I had a long talk. And I said, you know what?
Good.
I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. I'm no longer one. But I said, if I need blood, I'll leave it up to you. Because you know why? I don't want to die. I'm going on 70 years old, and I've been through hell because of this religion. none of my friends that I had lifelong speak to me. I see them in the grocery store and they turn and run away like I'm Frankenstein. I'm a beautiful woman. I'm not to brag, but I was in my youth. But
No, I hear the beauty. I hear the beauty in you.
And the thing is, I lived about a half a mile from the Kingdom Hall. And I'd be getting ready to go to, we owned a business, and I'd be getting ready to go to work. Well, come time for coffee break, they all piled in on my house. You know, hey, you got some coffee, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting ready to go to work. My house was not a free-for-all, but yet I didn't have the balls back then to say, let me go pile in on you.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. That sense of obligation, yes.
Or else, the days I was off work, right about 11:45, they pile in to fill up the last 15 minutes. I don't know what they were doing, but my house was Grand Central Station. So it kind of.
Oh, and now they shun you.
And they turn around and, some of them still talk to me, but only because they know.
Being ostracized is one of the worst things to happen to somebody. And I just want to share another point. You talked to your doctor and you said you'd be willing to let him make the choice. So what you did was you told him it is no longer the way it was. Okay? Now,
well, she said
okay.
No surgery.
So people.
We try to avoid
okay.
every possible step.
And that's a good thing. And from what I understand, people do not get blood unless it's a last resort. It's not just like, oh, let's give him blood, and it's like wishy-washy. It's just sitting there, let's just do it. No, it's like a last resort.
It's a blood.
And when it's on your, if somebody has left the organization, it's really important to go to their doctors and ask them for that to be removed, because you might have thrown your card away, but they still have it on your file.
See, I don't write that I am a Jehovah's Witness. I said it was former, but I let them know that there's still a part of me that, hey, if we don't have to do this, let's not do it. But for other reasons,
yeah.
Because there are sanctions. There are things you can get out of blood. But and plus the fact I was 43 years a witness. More than that.
Yeah.
And
hey, we got to get moving on here. We're running out of time, Lana and Apostle Babe. We got to get moving. I mean, I hate to say it, but we only have so much time.
One more time.
We only have so much time.
Get off your record.
Hey, Rick.
Now that you're former.
What's that, Lana?
I love you, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
Thank you.
I listen to you.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. I go ahead. Yep. Go ahead. You're on with us. Go
In
ahead.
1972, I knew this sister. She had a blood transfusion. And what happened was that her family wasn't a witness. So what happened was that when the elders went to see her, they were going to expel her. But because she said her family was the one that signed for the blood transfusion, they didn't do nothing to her. But when she left the hospital and went home, when the elders went to visit her, they saw that she still had the blood going in. They automatically disfellowshipped her. She died maybe a couple of months later. But that was the first time in 1972 I saw a person die because of the blood transfusion thing.
Wow.
And it's a pity because she was a lovely lady. And her husband, he was semi-Italian, Sicilian. So we used to have a lot of fun with the guy. But it's such a pity that people have to die because of a mistake that they have. And everybody believes what they say. And it's hard. Because for myself, I have a handicapped kid. And there's some times that I've come really, really close that the doctor says that he needs a blood transfusion. And if anything, if I have to do it, I'm going to do it. Because I'm not going to let my son die.
Well, good for
I
you.
just wanted to say this, and it's something hard, but the truth is one thing. The love of a child is something else. God bless everybody, and enjoy the.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, this is Chewy.
Yeah, Chewy.
Kind of a funny story. That's my new buddy on Six Screens. He's the uncle of the nephew I go visit on Saturday over here where I'm at. So we're in contact with one another. That brother that just got through speaking. But anyway, years ago, there was a court case, a legal battle down here of child custody. Not going to go into that.
Come closer to your phone, Chewy. Come closer to your phone so we can hear you a little better.
Okay, how about now?
That's better, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a court case down here on child custody, and the lawyers came down here. Okay, and so he was afterwards all over what he told me, and he told me that this time it was a Watchtower's policy, and this was back in around 2001, 2003, somewhere around there. So I don't know if it still is or not. But if it comes to violence, if the judge says no, get it, and they have the police officers there, they're supposed to back down. They back down. They don't want to get into any kind of altercations or anything like that. And so we were talking, and I said, well, I'm not going to use his name here, but I said, brother, if they ever force a blood transfusion on me and it gets to that point, here's what I want you to do, because I know you're going to be there with your Bible. He said, what's that? I said, I want you to make sure that it's Italian blood. I've always wanted Italian blood in my veins from the day I was born. I want Italian blood in my veins. If they're going to force it on me, that's what I want.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You like to have a little Italian in you, huh? Yeah, my goodness.
Yeah, that's my favorite food, yeah.
Well, nothing wrong with that. Good man, Chewy. I'm with you. I like Italian. That would, yeah. Go ahead.
And the other thing he said was a note of interest. He said that the lawyer, that wasn't his only job at Bethel. He said his other job was reading apostate material. That was his other job. So
yeah,
do with that with what you want.
Well, that's a good job. Yes. Well, thank you, Chewy. Thank you for checking in with us. Yeah, my goodness. So thank you, guys. I mean, I hate to cut everybody's short. I really, really do. We have so many stories we try to cover, but I appreciate you guys all coming in. I'm not trying to beat up on anybody, but I'm just trying to be able to get through the newscast. But anyways, we're going to go to the next story. Boy, that story carried a lot of weight. Yeah, blood. People always like discussing that because it's so evil. It's so evil. But anyways, we have been talking about here for the last month or two about what's going on with governments around the world and how they are coming against the Jehovah's Witnesses, coming against Watchtower, and how good we like that. I mean, we can make a difference, us activists, us apostates, but when the government comes down on the witnesses, that's something I like. I think you guys do too. So we talked about Sweden coming down on them for their practices, their shunning. We also talked about Norway, but I got to tell you about Norway. Got to tell you about them. Now, we talked about what's going on in Norway. There was a young minor Jehovah's Witness, and he didn't want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses any longer. So his parents kind of gave him the ultimatum. I don't know if they kicked him out of the house or not, but they made life really miserable for him. So he went to a national newspaper. And he actually told them about how he was being treated and how he's being shunned because he no longer wanted to be a witness. The national newspaper picked up on it and ran with it. And boy, it's over 1 million people that read the article, and the government got involved, and they said, look it, we're not going to, I'm just going to mute some people here, folks. If you could just hold on. I don't want to have to mute everybody, but just, hold on if you're coming in. Keep yourself muted until we ask you to come in. But anyways, in Norway, they were talking about taking the charity status, taking the money away from Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, I'm going to kick you out of the program right there. You don't listen, you're gone. Hold on. Okay. All right. We can't, we can't have, I can't do a program here and have people coming in like this. You got to work with me. I've asked you that all the time. Please do that. If not, I'm gonna kick you out of the program. All right. So let's go back to the story. In Norway, they are taking away the charity status of the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're not going to receive any money. It could be over $1 million a year because of this young boy being shunned. So they took it away. At least it looks like they were. So the Watchtower wrote a 40-page letter to the government of Norway. and 40 pages. I went through it. I read not most of it, but a good part of it. And I mean, it's blatant lies. Blatant lies. I'm going to read you part of it that I saw where the Watchtower, they're trying to appeal to the Norwegian religious board that they are indeed a religion and they do indeed have to get their money. Well, not so fast, Watchtower, but you listen to me here. Let me just show you this. I'm going to read part of this letter that they wrote as an appeal to the government of Norway, and you tell me if the witnesses are lying or not. So, of course, the Norwegian government was saying, look, you're not going to get the money because you shun people. And we don't want that going on in Norway. So listen to what the Watchtower says. I'm going to read you a few articles, 41, 42, and 43 of this 40-page letter. So notice what they say here. Article 41. The Watchtower is rebutting or appealing the decision of the Norwegian government. They say a baptized Jehovah's Witness who stops attending congregation activities such as congregation meetings or preaching will not be considered a withdrawn person. Now that's a bald-faced lie. They're writing the Norwegian government. I'll read it to you again. Now just follow through with it. They're saying a baptized Jehovah's Witness who stops attending congregation activities, such as congregation meetings or preaching, will not be considered a withdrawn person. So, I'm looking here. These guys are shysters. It's very tricky. It's very cozy how they word this. So if you don't go to a congregation activity such as a meeting or out in field service preaching, you will not be considered a withdrawn person. Well, I mean, we all knew that anyways. So they're trying to tell the Norwegian government, no problem if a person doesn't do that. And you wouldn't have any problem. People would still talk to you. But here's where the real bald-faced lie comes in. Let's take a look at Article 42. It says, on the other hand, one who voluntarily chooses to relinquish his spiritual status as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm going to mute everybody. Listen, you got to mute yourself. Don't mute yourself. You're coming in making all kinds of noise. Article 42. On the other hand, one who voluntarily chooses to relinquish his spiritual status as one of Jehovah's Witnesses by formally withdrawing will be respected for his decision. Since when has a Jehovah's Witness who no longer wanted to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses, how can they say that they have been respected? How can they say they have been respected? They can't be respected. We all know that. And then it goes on to say it's up to each individual affiliated with the congregation to use his personal religious conscience to determine if they want to limit or completely avoid having contact with the person. Is that true? It's up to the individual's conscience. If they don't want to talk, they don't have to. They're being pushed by the Watchtower to do this, but they're telling the Norwegian government that it's up to the witness conscience. If they don't want to talk, they don't have to. How much of a lie is that? That's a big time lie. So, I saw that in this 40-page document, and I'm saying, how can the Watchtower get away with this? I mean, they might be able to lie to people. They're not going to lie to us. We are all former Jehovah's Witnesses, and we can pick up on that. But just to reiterate, they are saying that when a person decides that they no longer be one of Jehovah's Witnesses and they formally withdraw. How do you formally withdraw? I suppose you disassociate yourself, or you could be disfellowship. And then it says their withdrawing will be respected. No way. You go to the Jehovah's Witness organization, say, I no longer want to be a witness. You're not going to be respected. This is lying. It says it, and then the witness.
Well, the rank and file wouldn't respect us.
No.
The overseer wouldn't respect us, but the legal department might respect us on paper.
Well, maybe they would, but it says it's up
That's
to.
legalese. That's the lawyers that were trained at Columbia there in New York.
Yeah, well,
That's how they talk.
it's really all writing that's certainly to their advantage. It's to their
Yes, it is.
advantage. Yep.
So the Black's Law Dictionary, words mean different things.
Yeah. So they get away with it. So, normal family connections and togetherness in the household will continue. That's what they're saying. Normal family connections and togetherness in the household continue. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you're a father, and I know Dick Borgie, who comes on here all the time, and he was disfellowshipped, he's not going to come on here and tell you that normal family connections and togetherness in the household continue. He went to the meeting after he was disfellowshipped, and his wife and sons, they sit down front. They wouldn't even sit with him. He had to sit up back. So they're saying normal family connections and togetherness in the household continue. That is false. That is terrible. How the Jehovah's Witness tries to make themselves look so good. And again, it's all about money. Oh, we got to say just the right words. This is critical writing at its best. We got to say just the right words so the government won't take away our $1.5 million a year. You're on with us. Who wants to say something? Go ahead. Hit *6. So, I'm glad to see that. Yes, Connie.
I was going to say they're like, honey, they're like the slithering snake. They're very sly. Watchtower is just all full of lies when it comes to this document. We know it. We've lived it. You leave that organization and, Watchtower assassinates your character as a human being. And your whole entire family or friends, they all just treat you like you're dead. So Watchtower's like a slithering snake, Rick, with all the lies, and it all comes down to the money. That's all it comes down to. And people who are not JWs, who have never been associated with the Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't know. They don't know what it's like being inside. So Watchtower is going to do everything they can. 40 pages, Rick. 40 pages of this legal document so they can get their money. So thank you very much.
Oh, you should see it. I'm reading through it and I'm saying, my golly. The lawyers that were working on it. So I guess it's worth $1.5 million a year to at least get the letter written. But, when you're lying, this is supposedly a Christian organization and they are lying. This is discouraging and disgusting. Well, thank you, Constance, and thank you, everyone, for commenting.
Yeah, Mr. Fearon?
Yes, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I can attest to the fact that you said that they're lying about that stuff. I know they are. I couldn't agree more about these people that dissociate themselves or disfellowship and all that. In addition, I can tell you that even if you're not a JW, maybe they were friendly with you at one time. If you go and you befriend one of those people that have been kicked out or resigned from that organization, you're not going to see the JWs any more than the other person is going to either, because they're going to do the same thing to you. They're going to avoid you too.
You're right, Ken. You're absolutely right. Good man. Thank you. Always appreciate your comments. Okay, I believe
we'll keep listening.
Thank you. I believe we get New York on with us. Go ahead, New York.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Rick, this is just for Norway? Good Lord, they're all over the world. So why was this letter just read in Norway? Read in Norway to affect the witnesses all over? Or is this just for Norway? What's going on with that?
Well, no, it's really not. Nobody, the witnesses don't have any idea about this letter. They, in Norway, were losing their charity status. That's what they call it. In Norway and a lot of European countries, Jehovah's Witnesses, as well as other religions, they get money for each person who is a member of the religion. It's a way that they feel that it helps. It's like welfare. So witnesses, as well as Catholics and other religions, they get money from the government. And so in this particular case, Norway said, no, we're not going to give you the money because you shun people. It violates our principles. So, but the witnesses have no privy to this letter. They don't even know it exists. It's online. And we talk about it here on JW World News because we keep up to date on all of the critical news in the Watchtower. But they're not going to let the witnesses find out about this. The witnesses have no clue, Shirley. Yeah.
So what is this withdrawn? So only, I mean, what this withdraw? Well, that's legalese, I know, but the withdrawn, is that supposed to be apostate now? Withdrawn, or what is that supposed to mean?
Well, I'm not sure, but I mean, basically, what you've got here is they're appealing. Norway doesn't want to pay them $1.5 million a year for being a religion in Norway. There's certain criteria religions have to meet in order to qualify for the charity, for the money, for the funds.
Right.
But because they were shunning people, and because they did this young man, and good for him, he was a whistleblower, that the government now says, no, we're not going to give you the money. So Watchtower wrote this letter. The letter was written to the government of Norway. They're appealing it. They're saying we don't do these things. Like I was just saying, I read these things they said they don't do, but they do it. They're lying, you know?
But yeah, of course, they're lying. Yeah, of course, yeah.
So that's what's going on. That's what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You're on with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rick, can you hear me?
Yeah, come close to the phone. Yep.
All right. Sorry for the connection. I think it's has to do with the word respect. They're playing games with the word respect. If someone says I'm going to wear a bunny hat and hop on
JJ, we got to get you closer to your phone. You're too low. We can't hear you.
Okay, I'm having trouble with my phone. I'll catch you later.
All right, come on in and come in. Get your phone volume up a little bit. We can hear you a little better. Yeah, I want people to hear you. Okay, so all right, we got some more coming in. I believe. Okay.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, Rick. I just hope Norway does their research on Watchtower and sees how they villainize and demonize all the governments, and take a look at that, and base some of their decision on giving them money as far as that. I mean, I don't see many other religions demonizing the governments like Watchtower does. That's the comment I got. But
no, it's a good comment. It's right. I mean, it's they present. They attack the governments, but then they cozy up or pander to them when there's a few bucks involved. That's what the Watchtower is. It's all.
I bet that wasn't in that letter.
Well, it's all about money. It's all you have to do is jump on the money trail. That's all you got to do.
Hey, Rick?
Yes, Randy.
Just wanted to say something, if I could, about Watchtower attorneys' integrity.
Sure.
Their integrity cannot be bought. Now, you can rent it for about $1.5 million a year.
I'm sorry, the last part of that, you said you could rent it for $1.5 million a year?
Yeah, you can rent their integrity can't be bought, but you could rent it for $1.5 million a year.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, just throw a few bucks under the table and they'll tell you what you want to hear, That's it. Hey, listen, I'm going to be talking about you later. I saw you made a post on Facebook, Randy, about last night's Diane Sawyer special on the cults. And I like your little commentary you did and the 10 reasons that you saw that kind of like they were like the Watchtower. We got that coming up on the news. So thank you for posting that up there. So I'm going to give you some credit for that. Good. Thank you. All right. So that's it. I don't know if you guys heard about this other story. My goodness, this other story. This really got my attention. A man arrested for allegedly shooting multiple rounds outside a Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not sure where it was. I think it was out west somewhere. But here we have a man. He pulls in. His name is Joshua Timothy Montiel, 40 years old. He was arrested this morning for allegedly shooting multiple rounds from a gun outside the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. I think it was in Washington. I'm not sure. It was out west somewhere. But anyways, the sheriffs came, and yeah, he was in the parking lot of the Kingdom Hall. and he was yelling and screaming at the same time, firing his gun, but he was screaming "F you," and the whole neighborhood heard him. So he's causing a real commotion. But Timothy Montiel, I'm going to put his picture up so you can see him. I'm going to put that right up there, right there. He's on, you can see him now if you're on YouTube. Now you take a look at that man. He's got tattoos all over his neck, all over his forehead, all over his cheeks. My goodness gracious, Timothy, what are you thinking when you get tattoos like that? But anyways, let me just say this. Timothy, I'm not sure why you were shooting a gun in the parking lot of the Kingdom Hall. I'm not sure why you were yelling out F you in the parking lot. But the only thing I do see here is you do have a tattoo, Timothy. You do have a tattoo on your forehead that says freedom. So I'm concluding, but I can't say for sure, but it would at least appear that this man is an ex-Jehovah's Witness, and he is ticked off. He's ticked off, goes to the Kingdom Hall in Volusia County, fires the shots, yells out F you. He goes to jail for us. They also found drugs on him. So he was arrested and sent to jail. But the point I'm trying to make is this man maybe he might have been abused as a young witness. And he's so ticked off, but something, I'm sure there's a witness connection. Okay, you're on with us. Does anyone see the
Rick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, what day you say he was arrested? What day this happened?
That happened just about 3 days ago.
Oh, 3 days. I thought he might have got pissed off because they're going back to the meeting.
Well, that's that's something I thought about too. But they're not.
I'm serious. I mean, I know it's not really funny, but I'm serious.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't let him in the meeting. I mean, if you could see this guy, I mean, he is a real. I mean, he's got tattoos, and they wouldn't let him in. But I believe he's an ex-witness. I really do. But other people might discount that. But nobody drives their motorcycle into a Kingdom Hall parking lot, fires off a gun, and is yelling F you. There's a reason for that. He's ticked. He's ticked with what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't know what to say. You're on with us. Someone want to speak up? Go ahead. We'll love to hear from
Rick?
Yes.
Hi, Rick. Fantastic. JW World News. Thank you so much for your patience. I agree with you completely. It is not uncommon for someone who has suffered real abuse in the Watchtower to come out and start, I don't want to say defacing, but it is not uncommon for someone who has been abused, especially sexually abused, and not allowed to have any voice, to come out of Watchtower, tattoo themselves and have piercings and be very angry and to behave in a manner that is just angry. And I do believe that you are correct that this gentleman was in Watchtower. I imagine he was probably sexually abused as a child. I imagine when he finally demanded justice that he was disfellowshipped and told that he was bringing dishonor on Jehovah's name. I believe that this behavior does not come out of nowhere. This comes out of being consistently on the fire and you suddenly blow. I call it having a tea kettle moment, but this is like a boiler bursting. And just the fact that he has freedom on his forehead, like freedom is the number one most important thing in his life. And I'm really glad you brought it out because a lot of people would be judgmental. He's acting this way. He looks that way. Just judge, judge, judge. But this has not come out of nowhere. And the thing is Watchtower will drive you crazy. They will slowly, it's like dying the death of 1,000 small cuts. And then they point to you when you're bleeding to death. They drive you crazy and then point to you when you act quote unquote crazy and say, look, see what happens when you leave Jehovah? They twist everything around, the damage and the cruelty and the coldness and the horrid things that they do to people. When you snap snap, when you flip out, when you show the results of the damage and the trauma and the drama and the abuse, they point to you once again. It's all your fault. You're the bad guy. It's your problem. We didn't do anything. You did it to yourself. Thank you, Rick.
Well, there you go, Anne-Marie. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Well, just a quick comment, not to rain on everybody's parade, but I read the article, and it does bring out that the guy was drunk and he had amphetamines on him. So don't you think it's possible he was just drunk and high and he didn't know where the hell he was at? I mean, I saw his picture too. I mean, just saying.
Well, no, well, I mean, it's look at Mike. I have
There's
no
an East Coast case and a West Coast case, and both were former members. And I think they both went to jail, one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast, for arson.
I'm not sure where you came with that. You say he was involved in arson, Pixie? I mean,
there are two other legal cases. One was a man and one was a woman. One was on the East Coast and one was on the West Coast, and they were former members.
Oh yeah, no, that's the reason why I mean I appreciate Mike coming in and even questioning this, because I do give a little wiggle room here. It just could have been a random act of goofiness, but what kind of
the guy? Didn't you see his picture, Rick? The guy, he doesn't look like a witness. I mean, he's got tattoos all over his face.
Right, but what does that tattoo on his forehead say, Mike?
Says freedom. What does that have to do with the watch?
Well, you come on now. You won the trivia championship last week. Your Burger King, by the way, is on the way. So yeah, but you won the trivia. Now you got to stop and think. You're a lousy detective. You got to stop and think. If you got freedom written on your forehead, you're shooting off rounds of ammunition in a parking lot of a Kingdom Hall, yelling "F you." Don't you think he would be connected? He's got freedom now that he's out.
Well, Rick, when you read the article, you didn't say the man was drunk and had drugs on him.
I said he was. I did say he had drugs. I did say that he was found with drugs. Yeah, I did.
Well, that's what the article says. So if somebody's high and drunk, I'm just saying it's possible he didn't know where he was at. I don't even know. The article does not say he was a former Jehovah's Witness. You don't have a clue. You have no idea.
Well, no. In fact, I'm not going to.
I'm a dummy, Rick. I don't know.
Oh,
but
no,
you don't know either.
Well, no, I don't. But I didn't come on and say I believe it 100%. I said I believe it. It's my opinion, and I think most people listening to this.
We'll find out. But
I think most people on this program tonight would agree with me, because I mean, it's just odd. Yeah.
Whether he's affiliated with Watchtower or not, but then again, it seemed very personal.
Yeah, it kind of hit home. I know Mike always thinks I'm picking on the witnesses, but look, I've seen some pretty bizarre things go on in the parking lot of Kingdom Halls. And I've read here for the last 16 years, I've read about Kingdom Halls being firebombed. The Kingdom Hall I went to right down the street, 3 miles from where I live, someone tried to light that on fire. They poured a bunch of gasoline on the door and lit it. I mean, this goes on day in, day out. These are aggravated people. I don't know about this guy per se, but these are people that have been hurt. They have been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. Seriously. So, we got to think about it. You got to think about it. All right. Well, anyways, we'll move on. I mean, that story, it might not, maybe it just falls flat, but I think it's got some merit. I really, really do. But anyways, what's really unbelievable? And I mean, I'm going to stand corrected on this one too. I'm going to stand corrected. I didn't think the witnesses were going to go back to the meetings. I really didn't think that was going to happen. So I will stand corrected on that. I'll move backward on it. It looks like they're going back to the meetings. It's official. The Jehovah's Witness announced it this week. The Watchtower made the announcement. We are pleased to inform you that the governing body has decided that, barring any local governmental restrictions, we will encourage all congregations to begin holding in-person meetings the week of April 1st. Well, that's just coming up in a couple of weeks. This will mean that in most cases, congregations will be able to meet in person for the memorial. Further details will be sent to each congregation. I'm going to tell you, when the witnesses heard that this week, it happened Monday or Tuesday, I forget what day, but when they heard that, many witnesses started having panic attacks. They started having anxiety. Many witnesses don't want to go back. They hate the idea. They like the idea of being on Zoom. They really, really did. And I mean, there's so many things, there's so many reasons why they wouldn't want to go back. I mean, look at, I'm going to give you a reason right here. I'm going to show you one reason right here. If you're on YouTube, you'll see it. But I'll show you one reason right here. I'll pop it right up so you can see it. Well, there it is right there. Look at that's gas prices. That's gas prices. The average gas price right now in the United States is like, I think it's $4.34 a gallon, somewhere around there in the 30s. I have never, as long as I have lived here in the state of Massachusetts, which is basically all my life, I have never seen gas prices over $4 a gallon. I looked at it yesterday. It's probably even higher today, but I was out yesterday. It was $4.34 a gallon. So the national average is up. So, I mean, the witnesses aren't going to be too happy about this, especially when they've closed down a lot of Kingdom Halls. And a lot of the witnesses have got to travel further. Some witnesses are traveling a good part of an hour, at least a half hour, 45 minutes to get to the Kingdom Hall, back and forth, burning up gas. They don't have the money for that. I mean, there are some rich Jehovah's Witnesses, don't get me wrong. But there are many Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't make good money. They're in the cleaning business. They were told don't pursue a career. So they don't make a lot of money, sad to say. They're not going to be able to fill their car up to be able to get back and forth to the meetings. So that's my feelings on it. What do you guys think? You think the witnesses are going to be happy about going back? Go ahead. You're on with us.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Well, it seems like they would be. I mean, I always said don't forsake the gathering, but I don't know. Like here where I live, Rick, I know I've told you this, they shut the Kingdom Hall in the town I live in, they shut that down. So if I was to go to the meeting, it'd be a 25-mile drive. I couldn't afford that. I mean, I got to have money to go to work.
Well, no, think about it. I mean, $4 a gallon, you can suck up some serious money doing that. So let's see what.
It's it's $4.25 here, and I haven't been there in a long time. But I mean, some of them here don't have a lot of money, so I don't know. Maybe they can still call in on the phone. Maybe they can just go to.
Well, they're talking about high. Go ahead, you're on with us. Go ahead, sister.
Hey, Rick, this is Elaine. Escape. How are you?
I'm doing good, Elaine. I'm glad you called in. Always good to hear from you. You got a really reassuring voice. When you come on here, you make people feel good. Thank you.
Thank you. You're so kind. I love your show. Rick, I just wanted to let you know, on my channel, on my YouTube channel, I read all of the study articles and I recap them. I also do JW broadcasting and I do I do governing body updates. So I know what the governing body are thinking and they're reporting on. Regarding going back to the Kingdom Hall, I only want to tell you what I see as a recurring as a recurring theme, and what they keep saying is the memorial, the memorial, the memorial. And Mark Sanderson on, it was either JW Broadcasting or Governing Body Updates, I can't remember which one, it must have been the updates, he said, maybe we'll open the Kingdom Hall in time for in-person memorial. And then on their website, they said, oh, we're opening up the Kingdom Hall for the memorial. So all I'm going to tell you is what I speculate and what I foresee is that they're opening up the Kingdom Hall so that they can have the rank and file reject the body of Christ. The elders will stand on the platform and read from Corinthians, do this in remembrance of me. 99% of Jehovah's Witnesses will touch the emblems, refuse the emblems, and the emblems will be discarded. We know that the memorial is their biggest celebration. So I'm simply speculating they're opening up the Kingdom Halls for this memorial, for the rejection of Christ. And then I speculate that something will come up and they'll close the Kingdom Halls again. So I just wanted to share that with you, that the only thing, the pattern that I can tell you with opening the Kingdom Hall has to do with the memorial. So time will tell what happens after the memorial. So that's all I have to say, Rick. Thanks so much.
Well, Elaine, I have to say I'd be in your boat too. What you just said, I would not discount. I would take it seriously. I know how evil these guys are. But just thank you for calling in. Always good to hear from you. You make us happy when you come in. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Ferry.
Go ahead, Ken, and then we got someone else coming in. Go ahead, Ken. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cannot keep you too long, but out here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and Northern Michigan down there, and we've got a lot of rural areas, and to include Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, a lot of small towns, a lot of rural areas, not that many Kingdom Halls. And I believe, I suspect that they're probably going to, like that one lady commented, I suspect they're just opening them right now because they want to go to that memorial. And then down the road, they just may make an excuse that they're either going to slack up or they're going to close them again, because for one thing, $4 or $5 a gallon of gas is not going to inspire a whole lot of people to be going to their Kingdom Halls.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you, Ken. I mean, all the way.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Hi, Rick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Rick.
Yeah, it's rolling.
Yeah, hi, Rick. I'm actually thinking, just a quick comment. I'm just thinking, actually, perhaps they're losing too much control of the drones and the rank and file, and perhaps they want to get them back under control again. Maybe that's why they're opening them again. And plus, they haven't got much excuse now because most churches have been open through pretty much most of the pandemic. But I mean, pretty much all churches are open now, so they're running out of excuses to keep them closed as well, aren't they? So.
Well, Roland, I don't discount that either. What you're saying certainly deserves attention. Always good to hear from you, Roland. Thank you for calling in from the United Kingdom. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Rick.
All righty.
Yeah, take care.
All righty. We've got, all right, who wants to speak up? I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Are they going? Yes, Constance.
I was going to say, I'm out here in California, and the cheapest gas where I am is $5.65 a gallon, and it's past $6 for premium and diesel. And we've been told it's going to go up to $7 a gallon. And I know down in Los Angeles, it's high, and I know in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's even higher.
Wow.
So, anyway, what I was going to say, yeah. And what I was going to say, Rick, is it's difficult just to, I've noticed in where I live that people will not get in their cars and travel if they really don't have to. Now, to go to work, yeah, but there's a lot of people in California that, they're on their computers at home, so they don't have to leave the house to go to the office, So this is going to be, it's not going to only hurt people who are not witnesses, but it's going to definitely hurt the witnesses. And, it's just a big black mass, Rick. They're, anti-Christ movement, and they just want to be able to bring in more recruits. That's what it is. But the other thought I had, Rick, is I think a lot of the rank and file are going to be totally shocked to see how many JWs left, because COVID, was 2 years, and it did a huge dent among JWs with all the Zoom calls and everything, and many left. So it's going to be very interesting, Rick, to see how this is all going to really play out. So thank you so much.
Well, Constance, I'm glad you stepped stone to that, because that's exactly what I wanted to bring up as well. It is going to be interesting to see how many people show up. From what I'm reading online, and people are emailing me here saying, Rick, I'm not going back to the meeting. And how about all these PMOs? That this might be a great time for them to say, that's it, I'm out of here. So they're going to have a lot of empty seats at the Kingdom Hall. That's what I'm thinking. So, but I think also they're going to, hold on, Braden. They're going to have these Zoom meetings still. They're going to have hybrid meetings. It's already being spread around the internet that, if you don't want to go to the Kingdom Hall, you can get on Zoom. But, they're going to use that as kind of Well, they're going to use that as kind of a scapegoat. Well, we don't have a lot of people in the Kingdom Hall, but a lot of people are on Zoom. So there's going to be a lot of issues. Go ahead, Braden. What do you have to say?
Hey, I got a question for you. During the trivia night the other night, that's probably one of the other new ones that I have just watched. When is Apostate's Got Talent going to be
well, that's next
when
week.
can I do an audition for it?
Well, yeah. In fact, why don't you do this? Write me at JW World News. Write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com. And we're putting together the program now. And we'll get you on as a comedian. We got a couple of comedians in there, so we'll get you on, have you do some jokes, and we'll do it. We'll get you on here, okay?
Sounds good, Rick. Hey, I got a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Okay. Who is the most popular guy at the nudist colony?
Oh, the most popular guy at the nudist colony, I would say, would be the guy in the best shape, I would think.
The one who can carry a cup of coffee in each hand and a dozen donuts.
Well, I got to think about that. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm.
Last one.
Okay.
All right. Did you hear about the constipated accountant?
No, I haven't heard about him. No.
He couldn't budget, so he had to work it out with paper and a pencil.
Well, we'll get you on. Kind of some toilet humor there, but that's okay. I'm still going to figure that one about the donuts. I'm not sure where that one was going. Okay. Well, anyways, that's our good man.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I was going to say a lot of these people, because of COVID, in the Zoom meetings, have been sitting at home, and they've been able to. They probably got on the internet and started researching their religion and found out that they're really in a cult. And that's going to probably affect a lot of their membership coming back. That's my feeling on that.
Well, I don't think that's the wrong feeling. I think you have put your feelers out there, and I think you're right. They're going to have some issues with that. It's not going to be like it was before. It's really not. And if you're thinking that, we're going to open the Kingdom Halls up and everyone's going to go back, they're not. I was in touch with some people. I have most of my relatives are Jehovah's Witnesses. And so, so I was in touch with some that are kind of like not Jehovah's Witnesses, but I asked them how my relatives were feeling about going back. They don't really like the idea. They like Zoom. They don't want to. And I'll tell you the worst thing. Who likes going out and field service? That is a drag. It's
horrible.
It's horrible. Not everybody's cut out for that. Older women, older men, maybe some people like it, but how would you like, dressing up, walking around the neighborhood, knocking on doors with a controversial sales pitch, having people slam the doors in your face? How could you possibly like that? Sick.
Yeah. I ran into it in the 80s. So, I can only imagine the rejection today on it.
Oh, well, if they go back, I'll tell you, I don't know if they're going to go back to the field service. That might.
I'm so twisted, Rick. And the younger people will be at the tattoo parlor.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if they're going to go door to door. Maybe they're still going to have some apprehensions about the COVID. But if they do, no one's going to answer the door anyways. Geez, I got out in 2005. Nobody was answering the door then. I can only imagine now after all of these programs on cults, all of these programs and news articles about Jehovah's Witnesses, people don't want them coming to the door. They're not even going to answer,
No. Today, people do their research on everything. You buy a car, you research the car before you buy it. Yeah, and that's something the internet has really hammered Watchtower on. Or Watchtower hates the internet. They have to, because people could research them now.
Well,
you never used to be able to do that.
The internet, Jeff, is the great equalizer. It's bringing them.
Yeah.
It's bringing the organization down to their knees. Hey, a great comment.
That's well said.
Thank you. All right. Hey, look at
Hey, Rick.
yes, go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, just a quick thought. I ventured to bet that they're opening the Kingdom Halls up to see how the contributions are going to be. If the contributions are waning, I'll bet you they close the Kingdom Hall again and blame it on COVID or some other epidemic, because their main interest is the money. So that's my guess.
Well, that's a good guess, Dick. I wouldn't say that guess is wrong. That it's all about money. You got to get on the money trail. Maybe they're thinking, geez, between our JW Broadcasting and all of the people we're getting on the internet, maybe we can get some people to come in here and put some money in the box. So, and also the memorial is a big fundraiser too. You can imagine that when people started coming back to the Kingdom Halls, at least as Elaine was just saying, for the memorial, people are going to be pouring money into their contribution. Oh, we're back now. Let's give the Watchtower money. Aren't they so wonderful? They protect us from COVID. I mean, that's what they're going to be saying. It's disgusting. Totally disgusting. Thank you, Dick. All right. Okay, you're on with us. Go ahead. Who's next?
Rick.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you talked about them going back to the meetings? I just chimed back in.
Yeah, we're just talking about that. We're still on the subject. Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Chewy?
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't think there's going to be that many people showing up. I called that previous comment I had about the blood. I called him today. It's been 25 years ago. My previous comment was active or whatever. What happened? I called him today on a totally separate subject.
Hey, Rick.
Hold on one second. Let Chewy finish.
And then it was a totally separate subject. I said, hey, I heard y'all was going back to the meetings. I said, hey, are you happy? That's what I asked him. He said, are you happy to go back to the meetings? This guy's he wasn't born in, but he came in at 20, and he's been an elder for years and all that. And he said, and so I asked him, I said, are you excited about going back to the meetings, the Kingdom Hall? He said, yeah, whatever. That's exactly what he told me.
Well, Chewy, thank you.
And I was really surprised that he said that.
Oh, yeah.
Because this guy was baptized back in the 70s.
Wow.
So I was really surprised.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Chewy. Really, thank you. All right, I think you're next, Mark. Go ahead.
Hey, Rick, how you doing? How's it going, Rick? Yeah, hope you're doing very well in every good positive way tonight. I want to let you know your show is totally awesome, and you're covering a lot of really good, very important stuff. I like it. It's totally awesome, Rick, and you've laid out some very strong points here. And I want to tell you, Rick, that when I heard just a couple of days ago, for that matter, my mother, was telling me that Jehovah's Witnesses are returning back to the Kingdom Hall, to attend the meetings again now in person on April 1st, and they're also having the memorial on April 15th. I was very shocked to hear that, because I thought for sure they were never going back, but when she told me the news, I was very shocked completely. But yeah, I guess they're going to do it. They're going to give it a shot. We'll see what happens. I told her that probably a lot of people will not be returning to the Kingdom Halls or the Assembly conventions anymore much in the future. So, it may not be much of anything. And, I also told her that, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not really rich, wealthy people. They don't got really any success about them. They're not really successful people. They never really were. Maybe a very few that got taken advantage of by Jehovah's Witnesses, but they're not successful people. They're not a success in any way at all whatsoever. And my mother told me she thinks I'm very jealous of Jehovah's Witnesses, which is not true at all, but that's the way she saw it. But bottom line to all this too, Rick, is remember that sad but true, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the way they've been so brainwashed, and their minds have been so very poisoned and very polluted that they are clearly both puppets, robots, and zombies, big time zombies, totally, all of that, 100%. And it's very sad. So I'd love to see how many people, if they actually do make it official that they actually all go back to the Kingdom Halls live in person, how many people will really show up. And I really doubt very many people will. It's going to be real interesting.
Well, thank you, Mark.
But overall, Rick, you've done a great job tonight in covering all that. Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mark. Very, very good. Thank you. Yeah, so we got these gas prices. We got these gas prices really escalating. Well, what are the pioneers going to do? I mean, can you imagine being a pioneer? You get a part-time job. You're going to pioneer. You're going to drive your car around. I'm not sure how they're going to do the ministry, but let's say they do go back house to house. What a boring thing that'll be. But the pioneers aren't going to be able to afford that. These people are poor. They're not going to be able to get in their car and fill it up and drive all over the neighborhood. It's not going to happen at $5 a gallon. And out in California, as Constance was saying, it's $6 a gallon. I mean, really, think about it. What do you think? You're on with us. Love to hear from you. Go ahead.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Rick, it's Zachary.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Zachary, I'm here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Rick, it's kind of funny. About an hour ago, I was on the phone with someone, active JW, and they're trying to figure out which Kingdom Hall they'll be going to. You know, some people have moved from one area to another, and we were actually going over what's near you, what's not. It's shocking how much you say, well, you know, there used to be a Kingdom Hall here and there used to be one here, and that congregation doesn't exist anymore. And, you know, now they're going to be here. So, or they, last I heard, they were all together, or they got dissolved and they're part of this other congregation. So there's a lot of that when you see people trying to figure out what they're going to do, you know, when they go back, where are they going to go? Another thing that I think about with this, you know, those book studies where we're always talking about the last days and the detailed discussions about the Spanish influenza that we used to have. And then we had, there was a time when there was 1975, we were supposed to be in the 1,000-year reign by October 5th or 6th, 1975, around that time. I think about this, and is it going to be sort of like back to the same old thing? Is it going to be like a post-COVID feel to the witnesses? Because I would think that some who really believed when this started going on and they had to come out of the congregation, you know, out of the physical Kingdom Hall, they started going on Zoom. Some of them would think, oh my goodness, Armageddon really is coming. This is wrapping up. This system is wrapping up. But now they're going into this almost post-COVID phase and going back to the Kingdom Hall. Will many of them feel like, oh my goodness, is that to the same old, same old?
Well, that's a good.
You know what I think's going to happen? The elders are going to get overloaded with people that have been getting in trouble over the last couple of years. They've been home drinking and smoking and getting with the girl next door.
Hey,
they're going to want to get straight before Armageddon comes.
Hey, Rob, the
elders are going to get overloaded.
So thank you, Rob. That's good thinking on your part, because, you know, I was thinking of that myself today. You know, what went on the last couple of years when nobody was watching? You know, smoking dope, running around with women, going to strip clubs. I'll tell you, there'll be so many judicial committee hearings, it won't even be funny. You're right, Rob. Hey, Rob, you're a good man. I give you a gold star. That's a gold star comment. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. There you go.
Hey, Ray, as a JW, I would hate going back. You know, because it's such a bother having to prepare for meetings and to get dressed for meetings and the going out in field service. It's after you've spent 2 years, I guess, on your sofa attending meetings, it's got to be really difficult getting back out and getting back on the full treadmill again.
Oh, it's got to be, Zach. Just
I think Roger's been on the sofa streaming the Triple X and the sports, and maybe he can't even get the suit back on, and he gets the suit on and goes, sits in a hard chair and says, "What am I doing here?"
Yeah, clothes will be a problem. Someone did mention to me that they lost a lot of weight, and
there you go.
They
either way
give their stuff away. Yeah, that will be a problem.
Even
and
going back to the office, they're going to go back to that hard chair in that room with no windows and say, "What?"
It's not going to go over good. But I was thinking of more people be not getting skinny, but getting fatter. I would think that. I mean, sitting home and eating all day, Fritos and ice cream, and because of not going to the meetings. But I think a lot of brothers are going to have to buy new suits, and maybe sisters buy new dresses. Yeah. Well, good man, Zach. Thank you for chiming in with us. All right. So who's with us? Anybody else on there? What about the meetings?
Hey, Rick.
Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that gas is going to be a big issue because you got to pay for gas to go out and service and the meetings. Most witnesses, as the religions are seen in the United States, if you Google it, the Jehovah's Witnesses are pretty much the poorest of all the religions because they don't encourage education, and a lot of people take jobs that don't pay as well and don't get educated or get educations to get a better job because of Armageddon coming. It's always around the corner. And that's what they always told me. You don't worry about a retirement. Armageddon's going to come.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my point there. And that's going to be costing some of these people that are sitting at home, we're sitting at home. And if they go out in the service, it's going to be more money. So that's my point.
Well, it's a good point, Jeff. Good point. Okay, go ahead. You're on with us. Next caller, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to know if they're going to be requiring vaccination cards.
Let me. I haven't. I'm
wondering about that.
So far, I haven't heard that, but it has been being brought up on various forums that they want you to be vaccinated to go back. But I'm not sure. That's a slippery slope for the Watchtower. If they're requiring that, there's a lot of witnesses that aren't. So that's going to be more empty seats. And, even restaurants and other churches, they're not requiring it. Many communities, states, local governments as well, have removed the mandate. So I don't think at this point, no, there's no requirement to be vaccinated. That's an interesting question. No, thank you, sister. Yeah, well, anyways, you're on JW News. The news the Watchtower doesn't want you talking about. But let me tell you something. We have... hold on one second. I just want to do a little... hold on one second. I just want to talk about what's coming up here tonight. Friends, we have got coming on YouTube. If you guys are listening on YouTube here tonight or on all of our platforms, except for Facebook, we have got Reese. Oh, my goodness. If you haven't heard Reese, he has a program coming on at 9:30. It's called Watchtower and the Occult Connection. Reese will be coming on tonight. Oh, I was on the phone with him today. I spent a good part of a couple of hours with him. And he has so much to talk about concerning Russia and Ukraine, gas prices, and how this is all a conspiracy. Well, he's going to be talking about that tonight. He's coming on at 9:30, and he's going to be on YouTube for the first time. We're going to bring him his maiden voyage. So listening on YouTube, I think you'll find it really, really informative. So he'll be on with us tonight, 9:30. So look forward to that. Okay, go ahead, brother. All right.
Okay, about all these judicial meetings they're going to wind up having.
Yeah.
I think they're going to wind up not disfellowshipping a lot of people and letting a lot of it slide. Because when I was a witness, brother told me, just lie about it long enough and tell him you didn't do it anymore, and you'd always get away with everything.
Rob, he gave you advice. I don't know if it was really good advice, but it worked, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't do that. And I was always bothering the elders with every little thing I did. people that lied about something for years and years and years, and then would go in with it, something pretty serious. You know, they'd get away with it.
Oh yeah. Well, it's an organization. If you were a governing
So
body,
I think lying is encouraged.
oh, of course it is. They lie. They lie through the teeth. They have a strategy, WA strategy they call it, where they actually have a policy on lying. As long as it's furthering Jehovah's kingdom, go ahead and lie. Don't worry about it. I mean, that's their position. All right, let's move on. Let's see what else is going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Yeah, we got a few more stories to talk about. Then we're going to be talking about, well, I got good news for you. The memorial's coming up, and you know what I do on Memorial. We're going to talk a little bit about protesting. So we're going to be right there. So hang in with us. Let me just bring this story up here right now, though, that I think you'll find very, very fascinating. Refugee crisis. A refugee crisis. It's right on jw.org. And of course, they want to really, I mean, they're not going to let a good crisis go to waste, even though I'm not going to in any way make light of it. We got a war breaking out here, a big time war. It could lead to World War III, but the millions of people that are fleeing the Ukraine, well, they're fleeing into Poland. And the question I have, I mean, it's a real refugee crisis. I've been checking it out on jw.org. I'm wondering, is the Watchtower really helping? Well, let's get into it a little bit. I'm just going to give you some stats here that you might find somewhat interesting. There are more than 129,000 of Jehovah's Witnesses living in Ukraine. Yeah, right now there's 129,000 living in Ukraine. So obviously their life has been somewhat adjusted. And just to give you an idea, they are saying the Watchtower is saying, oh, look, let me give you the stats. Let me give you some stats on the Jehovah's Witnesses in the Ukraine. The Watchtower, right off of their website, is saying 2 publishers have died, 8 publishers have been injured, 25,407 publishers have fled their homes to safer areas within the country. 25 homes were destroyed, 59 homes sustained major damage, 222 homes sustained light damage, 7 kingdom halls were destroyed. Where is Jehovah on this one? 7 kingdom halls were destroyed. But I notice here, it's right off their website, they're talking about relief efforts. Relief efforts. They're saying that the disaster relief committees, they're in big time operation in the Ukraine. It says 10,566 publishers were assisted directly by the disaster release committee to find accommodations. Okay, now let's watch the critical writing here of the Watchtower. They're very, very critical. And notice what they're saying here, that 10,000 plus publishers were assisted directly. Okay, we want to let you know that, flee over here, go to Poland. Maybe some of the witnesses over there can help you. But they're not opening up their purses. They're not opening up their pocketbooks to do anything. And it says that 9,000 plus publishers have fled to other countries like Poland, for example. And then it says they're being assisted by fellow worshipers. Very critical wording here. Why isn't the Watchtower, with their billions of dollars, why aren't they assisting fellow worshipers? It says that, I mean, why aren't they assisting the ones coming in for Ukraine? They're saying that the fellow witnesses in Poland are taking care of them. But we'll have to see for sure on that. I'm not sure, but I'm going to put a picture up. I was watching 60 Minutes the other night, and I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but on 60 Minutes the other night, they were showing all these refugees leaving Ukraine, and sure enough, they were going into Poland. And I couldn't help my wife noticed something that got my attention, so I took a picture of it on the phone, on the television, and I'm going to show you exactly what I took a picture of, because it really stands out like a sore thumb. I'm going to put it up on YouTube so you can see it. So here we have, this is right off of 60 Minutes. I took a picture with my phone. That right there, look right behind that woman right there. There's a jw.org sign. And they had banners all over the place, but I just happened to catch that one. She caught it. But they're standing right at the Polish-Ukraine border, and the witnesses are there. And oh, here we are. Now I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to say for sure because I don't know. But I don't know what the motive of the Jehovah's Witnesses are here. Are they really there to help the refugees? Are they there to assist them with housing? Because these poor people, they're coming with nothing but a suitcase. Some of them with just a plastic bag. And are these witnesses there with that jw.org sign and their banners? Are they there to really give housing and bring the witnesses into their homes? Or are they there just trying to get kudos and get time in and recruit people into a cult? I'm not sure. I can't say for sure. I'm sure maybe some of the witnesses would help, but I do know one thing for sure. If a person was coming in across the border from Ukraine into Poland, I can tell you this for certainty. If that person was not a Jehovah's Witness, there's no Jehovah's Witness in that arrangement of people that would bring a worldly person into their house. They're only there to help their own kind. And then I think some of them were there just to collect time, just to get time in service. I mean, I don't, you guys can think, Rick, you're a rat thinking that. Well, you can think it, but I know how the witnesses feel. I know what they do. They go out of their way to get time. They go out of their way to recruit someone into a dangerous cult. So what do you think of that? Very, very fascinating. Boy, I'll tell you what, that got my attention. That's right off that picture. That is right off of 60 Minutes. That is not doctored. That's not Photoshop. There they are. And I've seen other. Yeah, go ahead.
I was confused by that in a way. Why would they be there with literature when they should be there with a hot coffee and a donut? And then the Polish people have had airbeds and nursery space and have really opened every space they have to put refugees in the best comfort they could, under the circumstances. It's been remarkable. But the interesting thing that I heard, because I've been listening to all the networks, when those people came through Poland, if they had enough funds, they could get a flight from Poland to Italy. Now that would be the way out of that conflict, and most people wouldn't see the road, and most people probably wouldn't have the cash to do it.
You're absolutely right. Well, good comment. Good comment. Thank you, Pixie. Excellent. So anyways, that's what's going on behind the curtains in Poland. But I want to bring up a couple more stories. I want to talk about the cult program last night on ABC. And then we're going to bring our friend Norman in. He'll be coming in from Massachusetts and talk about the protests coming up at Memorial. But before we do that, let's talk about the cult next door on ABC last night. Did you see it? Oh, it was quite a program. I had mixed emotions about it. It had to do with Applegate, the Applegate Hale-Bopp comet, and how a number of people, I think it was I forget how many people died, 20-something people died because of Applegate's cult behavior and him talking people into actually killing themselves. But anyways, Diane Sawyer, she did the program last night. I have mixed emotions about it. But let me first of all tell you why I have mixed emotions. It was a 2-hour program. And see, when the witnesses would see this Applewhite character and how demented and how screwy that man was, they're going to say, see, we're not a cult. They're a cult, but we're not a cult. So it really wouldn't help. Last night, if a Jehovah's Witness watched that Diane Sawyer special on 2020, it wouldn't have helped any Jehovah's Witness. They would have just said, see, they say we're a cult, but we certainly don't act like that. But I wanted to bring that to your attention. So I had mixed emotions. So I watched it for an hour and a half. And then I went to bed. And then I watched the rest today. I put it on DVR. So I watched the rest today. But the second part of it was a little bit better. But I like what Randy M., well, he's on Facebook. He's a friend here. He listens in. He came up with some points on the program last night. He took some notes on how they're very similar to the Jehovah's Witnesses. And at the beginning, he said that he made a note that in the beginning of the crusade, they taught that they would go to paradise without ever having to die. Well, that's the same thing the witnesses believe, right? Going to paradise without ever having to die. And then he also brought up that they were isolated from the outside world, only being allowed to have each other as friends. Well, that's the same thing that goes on in the witnesses. See, a cult is a cult is a cult. And also, they were allowed not to have any critical thinking. They had rules for every little thing. They had to suppress any sexual desire. Same thing in the Watchtower. Same thing. These cults all pull the same dirty tricks. They had rules for everything. They had to suppress sexual desires, like I say. They had to confess to the group and be humiliated for even being unintentionally having sexual desires. The same thing in the Watchtower. They had.
Rick.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep it short, though. I got a lot to cover here. Go ahead, Daniel. Yep.
Okay. Sorry. I was just thinking, think about this. If you're suppressed sexually, mentally, emotionally, and most importantly of all, spiritually, and you wonder why mental illness runs so rampant in the organization. One, they're not taught to live in the now. They live for the future, and they know that if this world is going on, even subconsciously, it's like, if this world isn't in soon, how am I going to survive? I don't have a retirement. I don't have this and that. And so you can understand why eventually people start having breakdowns, because they've gone against themselves on every single level, that we're, not to be preachy, but in God's real world, the way he created us to be, imperfect or not, it was still to thrive and to be successful on all levels. You don't have that in the Watchtower. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, good. Well, thank you, Daniel. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, I'm not gonna take any more comments right now. We're gonna just stop it right here. I got too much to cover here. I got too many stories I got to bring up. Then we can kind of bring you guys on a little bit if we had a little time later. But I gotta cover these stories, friends. I got a lot of work into this. I want you to really get the best out of tonight's program. Then we'll bring you in. But I did take some clips, some sound clips from that program last night. And I want to, first of all, I'm going to play a clip here, clip number 28, and it has to do with about how the Watchtower, I mean, how this Applewhite's group, how they had. Well, I'm going to play the clip so you can hear it. Okay, let's play the clip.
Whenever a society is in disarray, as we certainly are, that's when cults can recruit successfully. I think there are more groups than ever before. Really? That they're out there right now? Yes, absolutely. And every day I learn of cults I've never heard of before.
In times that prove to be very taxing to the soul, whether it's a pandemic or political unrest, people are searching. And to search, they will look in the most unlikely places.
When we think about how the internet is being used by actors that are spreading this sort of disinformation, these conspiracy theories, they're very deliberate in how they're manipulating the online space.
Well, that's just one little clip I wanted to play for you. I hope you got a chance to hear it good. But see, a lot of the same things. A lot of the same things. I have a bunch of clips I did want to play. I'm not going to be able to get through all of them, but that got my attention. And what they were saying on the program, at the end of the program, they did bring up that, cults are having a hard time recruiting people. At least Applewhite was having a hard time near the end. So what he did is he started going on the internet, and he started getting people involved with him that could produce good videos. Well, that's the same thing the Watchtower is doing. So he's trying to recruit people on the internet by videos. Who's doing the same thing? Watchtower. That really got my attention when I saw that. So even though Watchtower, well, they know, Watchtower knows that their days of recruiting people with their carts, of going door to door, that is not going to work any longer. It's not. So they have to find other ways to do it. That's why they're resorting to all of these videos that you see, JW Broadcasting. That's why they're building a big video studio up in New York. They want more videos because the former way of recruiting is not working. I have so many clips here. I don't have time to play them. I just want to open up the lines, though. Did you see the program last night? We got about maybe 5 minutes to talk about it. Then we're going to move on to another subject. I have a man waiting in our green room. Go ahead. You're on with us.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I saw the program, but it's funny you mentioned about repression. Did you see the part in there that these people were getting castrated in the Heaven's Gate cult? I mean, the Watchtower at least don't do that.
Well, they don't do that, but in many respects, they emotionally castrate you. They get you so sexually repressed you can't get any feelings of sexuality at all for many people. So in a way, they castrate you. Yeah.
What do you mean by that, though? You say you're a Christian, so you think it's okay to go out and have sex outside of marriage?
No, I'm not saying that at all. Mike, you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that at all.
Well, you're saying that it caused repression, so I mean, I don't know what you mean by that. I mean,
well, what do you mean by you said that at least the witnesses weren't castrating themselves. I said they're kind of doing it in a strange way. They basically, because of their emotional feelings in the Watchtower and what you can do, what you can't do when it comes to sex, they become sexually repressed. They don't know what to do. It has nothing to do with being Christian or not.
Well, they can marry. I mean, you're allowed to marry in the Watchtower.
Well, Mike, you're all over the map here. You're all over the map. You're not making any sense to me. Okay, let's move on.
You know what they should have showed to make them look like a cult? When they dance around in the airports when the governing body shows up.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, so anyways, you guys saw the program. I had mixed emotions. I know the witnesses watching it. They're going to say, look at that nut. That's not us. Look at our leaders. They're so much more professional than Applewhite. But that didn't help the witnesses at all. But it kind of gave me some good thoughts and the ex-witnesses maybe, but it didn't do one thing to help one Jehovah's Witness. One more comment. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, I didn't have an opportunity to watch it, but I did see the preview. And my wife and I, we were sitting there watching the preview on ABC News. And she said, "What's that? What's that?" Now, she's still in. Everybody needs to know she's still in, and she's very indoctrinated. And anyway, I said, "Oh, that's a cult." That was that. And I described it to her a little bit. And I told her about the castration and all that. And she said, "He looks like a freak." And I said, "Man, I wish I had a picture of Stephen Lett right beside him."
I'm gonna put that picture. You sent me a picture. I'm gonna put it up on YouTube right now. There you go. So here we have Applewhite. There we have Applewhite. And right next to him is governing body member to the left there. That's Stephen Lett. I mean, it looks like they were separated at birth. They certainly do look like each other. But anyways, but see, your wife being a Jehovah's Witness, Chewy, she wouldn't have been moved by that one bit. Not one bit, It
no, she wouldn't.
No.
It would have irritated her.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have had no meal for about 2 days.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you went light on her. Well, good man, Chewy. Good man. Thank you for checking in. All right. What I want to do, I want to let you know that Memorial's coming up on April 15th. April 15th is the memorial, and I got news for you. We're getting back out protesting. I'm going to be down at the Kingdom Hall along with our 6 Screens protest team. So we will be down at the Kingdom Hall in Bridge Lane, Wilmington, Massachusetts. And I hope you guys can protest where you are too. I'm going to bring a man on right now who is on our 6 Screens protest team. You seen him last week. He was on our, let's get rid of this first. Give me a second here. We're going to bring Norman on. There he is right there. Now, last week, he was on our Watchtower trivia program. He's still all excited about it. He's got the sign up on the background. But anyways, Norman, I wanted to bring you on because I'm getting all excited. We got yes, you are. We get Memorial Night coming up here shortly. And of course, we've been going down to the Kingdom Hall now for 15 years. We couldn't do it the last couple of years because of COVID. But Norman, just to explain to the audience the adrenaline rush that you get when you protest in front of a Kingdom Hall. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. It is an adrenaline rush. Um, when we first go out there, we hold up our signs and we watch people coming in and out, and we like to look at people looking at us, and we get thumbs up. We get people who are kind of rubbernecking. They turn, and they want to read our signs, and we get to hang out, and it's a great rush by the end of the night. We feel because we see so many times where we need to be rejuvenated. There's so many bad things, and this is just a wonderful way for us to get together, and we can do a silent witness, a silent witness. But Rick, I want to encourage anyone out there who can join us on April 15th at the Wilmington, Massachusetts Kingdom Hall. If you come anywhere from Eastern Massachusetts or Southern New Hampshire, please join us. Or if you can afford the gas to come up from the South Shore, the Cape, or Rhode Island, even. If you can do it, take out a second mortgage, buy the gas, and come on up, because we'd love to have you there with us.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, Norman. I'm going to step in right here. If we have anyone coming more than 50 miles away, I'm going to buy their gas. I'm going to buy their gas. I'm telling you, I want to get them to come up here. So if you're 50 miles away from the Wilmington, Massachusetts, and it costs you $25-$30 to come here, I'm going to pay your gas. I really am. I want you to come up here and be with us. I think there's going to be more and more people protesting this year, Norman, than any other year. People have had it. At one time, we were looked at as being crazy. If you roll the clocks back 15 years ago, people would say, Rick, don't protest. Please don't protest. Don't put it up on Facebook. Don't talk about it. You're feeding into the Watchtower complex of persecution. Do you think that's the case, Norman?
Yes and no. To me, we're out there for certain people. There are certain people who at the Kingdom Hall who they will not come out of the Watchtower no matter what. The governing body can say little green men are going to arrive from Mars, and they would go along with whatever the governing body says. They look at us with disdain, and they'll never come out. And they'll feel persecuted. But we're not there for them. We're there for the PMOs. The people who are just about ready to come out, and they see our signs and they see us out there, and it may give them the courage to leave. We're also there for the people who are in the middle of putting all the puzzle pieces together. We may not, our protest may not get people out right away, but it might be one step in their process to see that there are other people out there who were part of the Watchtower, who are out, and who have the courage to come on out and show who they really are. Also, we're there for the people who, for the younger people who may have never known that there are protests or there are people outside the Watchtower, or people who oppose what the Watchtower teaches. It'll show them that there are people on the other side. We're also there for the people who've been abused by the Watchtower, the elders, and members of the congregations. They feel alone. They feel abandoned. But yet they see us out there holding signs of people who've been abused. And, people don't like to feel alone. They might feel that they're the only person out there who's ever been abused by the Watchtower, by the elders, and they don't know what to do. But with us holding our signs, they can see that other people were abused, and they can see the signs that we hold for silentlambs.org, and maybe they'll look at it. Maybe they'll know that they are not alone.
Well, we had Norman. We have a number of signs. I'm in the sign business, and so I got some really nice banners, well made, professionally made. Maybe I'll play a little clip here in a while of what we do, and you can get a little idea from protests we did years ago. Yeah. But we're encouraging everyone that can possibly do it. Let me tell you something. If you're thinking it doesn't do any good, it does do good. I have many people write me and say, Rick, when I was a young person outside my convention, there were apostates. And I never forgot it. It stayed. It was an image that was embedded in my mind. And I never forgot that image of these guys standing out there. And I'd ask my parents, why are these people here? And they say, well, don't pay no attention to them. But I'm going to tell you, they took that and said, well, these people must have something to say. They're out of the organization today. And I know we've helped people. I can't tell you we helped hundreds of people. I can't even tell you we helped 10 people. But I can tell you for a fact that we've helped at least 5 people. Now, if we helped one, it would be worth it. And I remember there was one woman, Norman, at one of our protests. It would have been back in 2000. It would have been back 2000, probably 2010, I would say.
Mhm.
And so the woman, she came in. She was invited to come to the Kingdom Hall. So she came down the road where the Kingdom Hall was, and she saw us there with all the banners and all the people standing there with signs saying things about the Watchtower. So she thought that we were Jehovah's Witnesses. She wasn't really reading the signs, but she thought that these were like welcome signs, welcoming people to come to the Kingdom Hall. Now, so she stopped and she came up. She says, wow, she says, I didn't realize that, boy, you were welcoming the people. I said, well, we're not Jehovah's Witnesses. I says, read the signs. They're hiding pedophiles. They're shunning people. She says, what? She says, I've never been to a Kingdom Hall. She says, I was invited to come here. But you say they're hiding pedophiles? I says, yes. She says, I'm not going. She got in the car and turned around, Norman. So that's a woman. Plus, the other thing, and I'm not whistling Dixie here when I tell you this, people would come by and secretively, they would be giving us the thumbs up. I'm talking about adults and children, I say teenagers in the back of a car. They'd be going by and they'd see us there and they'd be giving their little thumbs up as they're going by. So people are paying attention. And Norman, I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I believe this year protest is going to be big time. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to offer people right now, if you're listening into the Six Screens Tele-Network tonight and you want to protest, if you want to protest anywhere in this country in America, and if you're going to do it in Europe, I got another plan for you. But if you want to protest and go to a Kingdom Hall in America, I've got some really nice signs. I'm in the sign business. I will send you a sign free. The only thing I want from you is you've got to take a picture of yourself standing with the sign and send it to the Six Screens. So we can show people after the memorial, all the people doing this. So if you would like a free sign, and you let me know what you want on the sign, and I'll make that sign professionally for you. I'm not even going to charge you to ship it. I'm just going to give it to you. I'll send it to you, and you can stand outside of Kingdom Hall, and I'd be proud to have you do that. And what you want to do is write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com. jwworldnews@gmail.com. Say, Rick, I want a sign. You tell me what you want on the sign. I'll make you the sign. I'll ship it to you. But you got to make a commitment. Don't vacillate. You make a commitment. I want you to take a digital picture of you in front of the hall and send it to me. So what do you think of that, Norman?
I think that's fabulous. And for the people who may be afraid to go out, let me tell you, there's nothing to fear. When we go out with Rick, Rick all takes all the precautions. He goes to the police station. He gets a permit, so we can be there with legally. We have never been attacked by anybody. Of course, we don't shout at anybody either. We just stand there with our signs. We don't yell at them or threaten anybody. We just stand there and we smile. And there's nothing to fear going out there. We have never been attacked. I've even had my 13-year-old daughter out there with us and her friend, and they stood out there with us. My wife has been out there. Also, Inez, Rick's wife. Inez was a beautiful, beautiful woman. She was very petite, and she would go out there with her sign, and she would hold it proudly. She would stay there for as long as she possibly could, and towards the end, even she stayed there for just a few minutes. But there's nothing to fear from anybody. And so, if you fear being recognized, wear a mask. Nowadays, people wear COVID masks. Wear a COVID mask if you don't want to be recognized. But be there. Bodies matter. So come and join us in Wilmington on the 15th. Talk to Rick. Come on down. We'd love to have you. We'd love to just stand there and hold a sign while they're inside the Kingdom Hall. We just stand there. We talk, and we fellowship with each other. Me and Rick and Dick, we've been talking for years. We do our broadcast from over there, and it's absolutely wonderful. When we're done, we go to the local McDonald's, and we're just flying high, because we feel really, really good about what we've done, all the people who've acknowledged us, all the people who've given us the thumbs up, people who are winking at us, or even just the people who are just staring at our signs. Again, they're rubbing it from the car. They turn as the car goes by. The neighbors don't mind us, and we've got the permit to be there. Come on down. It's a great time, guaranteed. You'll enjoy being out there with us.
Well, they certainly will. I want to mention, too, that even my new wife here, I've been married to her for 14 years, for 8 years. And I have to tell you, she's been down there with us, too, one time. And then she wasn't feeling good the last few times. But she's been down with us. And I have to tell you, the first time she was just getting out of the witnesses. And so she came down there. It was a little scary at first, I have to tell you. When you first step out there holding a sign, it's a little scary, but you do get that rush, and she felt so good afterwards, Norman. So we're looking forward to it. If you guys...
Susan's a trooper. We love when she comes out there with us. But as you said, it's a little scary at the beginning, but after 5 minutes of standing out there, it'll turn into an adrenaline rush.
You got it, Norman. And in fact, I'm getting excited here tonight just talking about it. So we're going to be down there. Did we lose Norman? We lost Norman's voice.
I'm still here.
Okay. I'm sorry. For some reason, we just lost a little bit. But Norman, it's all good. I'm just going to put up a little clip here. I just want people to see a little clip of what we do. So let me just get in here and do this. What I got to do is I got to share a screen here. So give me a second.
Yep.
We're going to share a screen. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get that up there so you guys can see it. It's Memorial Night YouTube. Let's play it. Let's share it. Let's see what you think. Another thing I really want everyone out there to know, and I don't have to tell you because you're already on the internet. You're seeing this video on the internet. But it's only a mouse click away. That's all you have to do. If you're a Jehovah's Witness and you're sitting there and you're not happy with what's going on, you're kind of like in this conscious class we talk about. You're not really secure in their teaching any longer. You're having some ill feelings concerning the Watchtower. All you have to do, it's only a mouse click away, all you have to do is punch in these websites. You see them right there. Now, I have to tell you, I know a couple of these people. I know Randy Waters, he's got www.freeminds.org. I'll tell you, that's a wonderful website, a lot of information on it. You can check that one out. And how about these other ones too? www.silentlambs.org. We talked about that earlier. You can go on Silent Lambs, and you can find all about all the child molesters that are in the Watchtower organization. And it was certainly thankful that people like even the Watchtower Information Service.org, where we're thankful that these people are willing to take their time and effort to put up a website where people that are beginning to question the Watchtower or they want to find out about the Watchtower can get in there and check it out. So go ahead, don't be afraid. It's only a mouse click away. Well, I want to tell you, it's been a very enjoyable night out here again. In fact, this is one of the better nights we've had, right? It's beautiful. I'd say it's about 50 degrees. This is the 5th year that we've been doing this, and I have to tell you something. It's been the warmest. It's been the best. We had very little wind, so it didn't foul the signs up. But, amazing things are happening in the world of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And we have another congregation. It was actually 2 congregations that had met here tonight. And Norman's been here right along with me and Dick and all of our other group here. And I think that you all will agree that there wasn't as many people here tonight. the numbers seem to be down. Usually, in fact, the first year that we came, it was really packed all along the street here. It's not that way now. Even the parking lot is not totally full. So this is an amazing thing. There's two congregations that meet here. The Tewksbury Hall met first, and the Wilmington Hall is meeting here second. But hey, the amazing thing, we had a couple of good things happen tonight. But the one good thing that happened is we had a young man, I'd say probably in his 20s, and he came up and he wanted to talk to us. He had a suit on. I thought he was a full-fledged card-carrying, time-reporting witness. But he came up and he wanted to talk to us, and he said, what are you doing out here? I just kind of curious. And he was looking around, and he said that he was studying with the witnesses. And see, this is what I talk about, friends. I know on YouTube and some of the emails we get, they say that, this doesn't do any good. You stand out in front of a Kingdom Hall. What do you think? People are going to just get up and leave? Well, I'll tell you what, maybe we can't get a lot of the witnesses to leave, but we certainly can stop people from coming in. And this young man came up and he told us that he's starting to study with the witnesses, and the people were really nice to him. But at the same time, I mentioned to him that he's being love bombed. I says, this is a very dangerous cult. And he was wondering why I say that. And I say it because it's very easy to join a cult. The problem is getting out. You can't leave. And so he's going to take it to heart. He wanted to. Well, there you go. We'll stop it right there. But anyways, you get the idea. It works. It really does work. And I have to tell you, so why don't you come out? Come out April 15th. And if you're not here in the Wilmington or Boston area, do it in your neighborhood. We wanted to get some information from the 6
hold on
rules
right
of
here.
Watchtower, how to get
We'll
in
get
there.
that. We'll
We
stop
wanted to
this
find
here.
out
Hold
about
on.
some of these other websites. So hopefully this will all work out. Yet he actually came up and took one of our brochures. We're going to try to get him on the conference call, and that'll be fantastic.
All right, we'll stop it right there. All right, but anyways, Norman, that's a little clip we had. That was a few years back, but we go back 15 years doing this. Obviously, some of those websites, they're not even available anymore, but back then, those are the websites where we're getting people out. So why don't you come and join us this Memorial Night, April 15th. What do you have to say, Norman?
I say, come on out. There's nothing to fear. Come over and join us. You're gonna get a big rush from it. And also another group that we're helping too are, as Rick said, those who haven't joined yet, or the friends and family. A lot of witnesses invite their friends and family to the Memorial Night, and they'll get to see that their fears have confirmed that the witnesses are harboring child molesters, and that their concerns about their family members being witnesses are true. So I would say we're there to serve a lot of people, Rick, a lot of people, and we don't know all the stories. We'll never know all the stories, but we're there, and we hope to change people's lives. And we hope that you can come out and join us for the memorial meal coming up on the 15th.
Well, thank you, Norman, very much for coming on here tonight and being with us. We appreciate it. And you have a good evening and keep waving that flag of victory. The calling of Christians to a heavenly hope cease. Now, if you've been a witness for years,
hold on one second.
You know that they've been telling you that was supposed to cease back in the 1930s, right around 1935 specifically. But now they're coming back in this questions in the readers in 2007 May. They're saying the Bible does not reveal.
All right, that's it. We had some sound issues going on, but thank you, Norman. Thank you very much.
Great to see you.
All right, good to see you too, Norman. Okay, friends, we have got another program coming up. Stay with us. Listen, I want to let everyone know we really appreciated you guys coming in here tonight to JW World News. We have got Reese coming in from the belly of the beast. He'll be coming on next. Boy, I'll tell you what, if you haven't listened to Reese, you got to listen to his program. He is going to be talking tonight about Ukraine-Russian war. He's known as a man that has a lot of information. He says there's more going on behind the scenes. He's going to be talking about that tonight. We're going to have him live on YouTube for the very first time. So we're looking forward to that. So when we do end the program tonight, you want to listen to Reese, just come back into YouTube on my channel here and you'll see Reese. He's coming on about 9:30. In the meantime, I'm going to bring someone on that might be able to just kind of fill the gap here for a little bit, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Dick, did you want to?
I'm here, Rick.
Okay, you're there, Anne-Marie. Okay, because we're going to bring Reese on, and I know we got Dick on there as well. Maybe you guys can kind of just chew the cud a little bit, and We'll get Reese on here. Thank you very much, Anne Marie and Dick. Yep.
Thank you. Hey, Dick, are you there? Anybody want to comment? I've been listening for 5 hours or 4 hours or however long. A lot of good stuff. It's all coming down. They're listening, and we know that what we're doing, what